Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Bullets and Bourbon Podcast. Today our guest is Michael Phillips. Now we spoke to him last year about Generation GWOT match, and we're going to be covering details again about this weekend's match. So before we get started into questions, Mike, how you been?
Matt, fantastic. I've been doing really well. Work was a little bit busy during the first half of the year, but especially with our July 4th shutdown, our celebration of America's birthday, I am revitalized and ready to go.
Hell yeah! And to kind of recap, since last year, you had your son. He's growing. He's walking some, standing up on his own, all that kind of stuff. Uh, we've ran into each other at two matches. Haven't had the opportunity to squad together. The first gauntlet we were going to shoot, we were going to be on the squad, but you had work stuff come up. But then we saw each other at the last gauntlet match that I was ROing at, and then you went and shot Duskin as well. So I mean, it's been good seeing you, other than just once a year.
Yeah, it's always great to see you, Matt. I look forward to seeing you not at the next gauntlet that's coming up because I am out of town that weekend, but the subsequent gauntlet matches and then obviously Memorial. And of course, this weekend's match. I look forward to seeing you at all of those.
Hell yeah! So again, talking about how we just recently saw each other, um, you know, gauntlet match. Describe your first gauntlet match, and have you changed anything in your fitness to prepare for that match specifically?
Yeah, so the gauntlet that filled me with a little bit of dread, just like it would for any military type personnel, because you run the risk of being not good at something that you are supposed to be good at. And um, naturally, none of us want to feel ashamed in that moment. And the training is paramount. And I think you remember I called you back in February because I was
Yeah.
like, Matt, let's go. Let's do this call. Give me a walkthrough on what your first one was like. And you told me sandbags. Get those sandbags up off the floor and just do that. Get a 150-pound one. That's what I did. And it was really effective and good training. The gauntlet match as a whole. I mean, Chris Hutchison puts on an absolutely awesome match. Really challenges you both as a shooter and as I mean, I can't even call it fitness because it's not exactly fitness, but just your I guess your ability to perform under certain pressures and with certain obstacles. It's very challenging. He puts the stress in all the right places so that at no point can you identify something that you're comfortable with and say, I've got this.
Hmm.
He's added something into every stage just to get you out of whatever you could have trained for. And to your point about training, I really didn't modify my training too much just because um, I became obsessed with the deadlift like 6 years ago and have built all my workouts with that as a core. And the deadlift correlates very well with all types of strongman events. And the gauntlet level of fitness is derived largely from many of the unique strongman type events. You're going to have your grip strength, posterior chain, legs, all are going to be tested. The rope climb, that was quite the curveball, but everything
Yes.
else I feel like fit kind of into that category.
I'd call it more like military fitness, like you described, things that we should be good at, but like you don't necessarily practice. It's more military fitness. Like, hey, like in a real situation, hey, I got to get these ammo cans, or I got to get this dude over from one location to the extract location, or I got to get this ammo up to that hill, and it can be replicated in any one of those things. Or hey, I got a machine gun that I got to carry up to this, and I got to run it up there as quick as I can and be able to engage targets whenever I get up to the top of the hill. Like, I look at it like, I have an objective that I need to meet, and I got to be cool under fire, or have the heart rate where it needs to be to where I can still engage my targets.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm honestly just glad there weren't a bunch of rescue Randys. I think JK had reserved everyone in and or around Fort Bragg, so nothing was left for Chris.
Yeah, because that was what, a week 2 weeks after the fact.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So, yeah, JK did a good job just getting every rescue Randy he could fucking find.
He sure did. And I heard a rumor. I won't ruin the fun, but I heard a rumor that there'll be less going forward. Ask JK about it if you get the chance.
Yeah, we'll see. Just because of this rumor, there's going to be more.
One for each hand. I don't see
Yeah,
a problem.
just fucking get it, man. This is designed for special forces.
Yeah, that's what JK would say. That's what RJ would say.
Yeah. Quit being a bitch. Just move it.
You sound like a Democrat.
So, kind of going back to your match, Generation GWOT. So, what is the purpose of your match, and who is the target audience, and why is it important to get involved?
Yeah, so Generation GWOT founded this in 2023. The whole mission is to support active duty and veterans through sport. And that's both through a combination of providing an opportunity to engage within the competitive shooting community and giving them the opportunity to identify a new skill that they can continue to perfect and develop week after week, year after year. So that's really the target market there. From a standpoint of why I think it's important to get involved, um, I know you and I are a lot alike, so I'm going to pitch it from a hypothetical sense. But if you're anything like me, you need something that you're continuously striving for. You need that incremental improvement in your everyday life. And when you're not experiencing that continuous improvement, you're not going to be satisfied with where you are. You're going to have crises every month, week. If your workouts aren't going to plan, if your career progression isn't going the way it should be, you're going to be looking to fix those pieces of your life and improve them. And this is just another outlet for that. This is one more area where we can identify something that you should be good at. And we're going to give you the opportunity to continuously improve on it. And it's not one of those things like the Duskin or the Gauntlet, which are incredibly well done matches, awesomely designed. This isn't like that. This is an introduction to three gun. This is meant to make people very comfortable. It's only good vibes, getting experience with different weapon systems, and competitive shooting techniques. We have some of the best coaches and instructors in North Carolina, both from the professional shooting community and from special operations, who are going to be there to walk people through and give them hands-on instructions both with the equipment they're using as well as how to break down and shoot certain stages. And nothing that we're doing is very complicated. Jason Byerly out at Zoo City puts on incredible three-gun matches, very challenging and frustrating. We don't do that. Yes, it's at Zoo City. Yes, Jason Byerly has a lot of input into what we do, but um, all those targets, they're naturally like drawing your attention and drawing your eye, and then you have to remember to stop and pivot back 90 degrees to take a disappearing target. Like we don't do that. We're not trying to trick anybody.
No memory
We're just trying to get
stages,
people to have
just,
fun.
yeah. Yeah, in
Yeah,
your
right.
face,
Exactly.
like go out, shoot, have a good time, learn how the equipment works.
Absolutely. That's all it is. And then to your point, like why it's important to be involved when you're in that community is these are our new group of friends. This is the new group of shooters that's going to be at the next year's event, at the Gauntlet, at the maybe potentially the Dustin, at Memorial Three Gun when that one comes up. All these major matches that we've got every year. Like this is the next crop of shooters that we're raising up and bringing into the community and helping them get their start in our own way.
Yeah, no, I like that. And thinking back to whenever I first got into competitive shooting in 13 and 14, it's like I wish there was stuff like this going on, and I'm glad like it's finally happening. Like you took the reins and you're like, I'm doing this because this is how you build a community right here. This is like dependent on how like quote unquote the instructors ROs go, like they have such a huge impact on the future of our shooting sports. If they get a bad taste in their mouth, they're not going to come back. They're like, "Oh, this is how it is." Or, they're going to be like, "This was fucking awesome. These people are great. This is a type of community I want to be in." Like half the reason why I'm still shooting, it's not necessarily because of the shooting anymore. It's because the community, because it is such a good group of people, and it's people that just want you to be better and uplift you and just have a good time.
That's right. I mean, if we were shooting fireworks off a bridge on I-40, I'd still be happy to show up with the same group of guys.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, cool.
But you know, you provide a lot for this match, like, and you reach out and you talk to a lot of the companies out there. What goes all into planning a match like this, especially since you provide pretty much everything to the competitor.
Yeah, there is a decent amount that has to get done. Um, but there's really, really awesome guys in the community that help take care of a lot of it, like Jason Byerly and Chris Snappy out at Zoo City. Everything that happens on the range from basically when the timer starts to stopping and with the stage build and stage teardown, they pretty much take care and cover all of that. So it's really huge to have a large chunk of the match already taken care of. Like they understand the concept, they implement it so that it's a comfortable environment for new shooters and with still providing decent, memorable stages for these guys to shoot. That's huge. Them being able to do that. Sponsor communications, that's definitely the largest chunk of my time that goes into it. That's, like you said, reaching out to each of these companies. But we've got a lot of recurring support that they showed up the first year. They heard about the mission, such as it is, and said, this sounds like something that we want to support and be a part of, and they've been part of it ever since. And that's great and a really good reflection of those individuals that are the contacts there and those companies' missions. We do have a lot of help from American Defense, OA Defense, and Dissident this year. American Defense came on 3 years ago when we were first doing it. I guess that'd be 2 years ago. 2 years ago when we were first doing it, and they brought all of the stage guns, all rifles with uh, LPVOs, red dots, whatever guys wanted to use. OA Defense through Johnny Moffett came on last year, and they provide all the Oracle arms, 2311s for guys to shoot, and then Dissident, thanks to the work of one unnamed individual, is making sure that we've got two Dissident box-fed shotguns for these guys to use. So these companies that are supporting the match really make it much easier because a lot of the guys that we're trying to reach out to and get involved in the support, or excuse me, get involved through in the sport via the support, um, they're not going to have their own stuff in many cases. Sometimes they do, but shotguns a little bit less so because three guns a little bit more niche. Now, being able to provide all this, it makes it massive and seamless, which is how someone years ago got me hooked in the sport. They just dragged me out there, threw all their stuff on me, handed me guns, and said, "Go shoot." And that's an experience that I really want to be able to continue at scale with 50, 60 shooters every year.
Hell yeah. No, and that people don't realize how hard it is nowadays to get sponsorship support. Like it's not just a matter of calling a company and being like, "Hey, I'm doing this, can you do this for me?" It's building relationships, maintaining those relationships, and it's not maintaining a relationship for the purpose of the match. You're maintaining a relationship because you're interested in that company, what they do, what they provide. But at the end of the day, it's a friendship. You build friendships through this community, from the firearm factory point of view and from like the individual level point of view. And people can read that out.
You're not wrong at all. And like just as an example, like when I first got into it, I wanted a little bit of everything. I'd take something from each market. I'd take something from each company and I'd want to test it and try it. And now that I've been here for, I guess this is my seventh year shooting competitively now, there's really only certain optics that I shoot. I only shoot Vortex, who happens to sponsor my match. But the reason I shoot Vortex is because of Bryce Lamlin and Dave Harris and the guys that work for Vortex and the guys that are part of that community. And those are guys that I've shot with my entire competitive shooting career. So it's like, all right, that's a natural answer there. Like
Hmm.
American Defense. I went out and bought an American Defense rifle on my own dime last year because I was like, all right, let's see what these things are about. These guys are really cool. They stand by their products. They want to support the military and veteran community. Let's see what they've got. And so that's just me. That's just an anecdote of some of the interactions I've had with the companies and their representatives within the community and what they stand and believe in.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's huge as an individual, and going back, like you could tell who's in this community just to get stuff, and who's in this community to be part of the community, and like that that speaks volume. Like those who utilize the products of the companies that support the sport, like that's huge for them. Like that's a return on investment for them.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
so, the matches this weekend, we've kind of already hit on this. But I kind of wanted to go into it one more time. The purpose of the match and why it's important for you yourself to host such an event.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a two-part question, which I can only properly answer in two distinct parts. Purpose of the match. I I've worked for and with a lot of veteran service or military service organizations, and many of those organizations exist to deal with what I believe are symptoms. I mean, let's not get carried away here. Most of these are awesome, but
Mm-hmm.
many of them that I've observed and come into contact with, they are treating symptoms instead of looking for root causes. And in some small way, I think this tiny piece of the pie that I've got here is dealing with something which is really related to purpose that some of these other areas might not touch. So I want to be able to address that problem very early on. And the way is through community, the way is through continual self-improvement. Um, the way is through honestly action sports. I
Mm-hmm.
think action sports are an outlet for men in particular that as a society we have kind of gotten away from a little bit, and we're seeing some resurgence, whether it's in ATVs, BMX, mountain biking, parachuting. Like we're seeing a little bit of a bump in that in some areas, and I think this is going to solve that same gap, or it's going to fill that same void.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's, it goes back to giving a person a purpose in their life, something to look forward to, something to drive toward. And it has that mental health effect of, you know, I guess you can say again, their purpose. What's their purpose in life? What do they live for? What's gonna continuously make them come back, give them proper improvement, and something to have hold dear and have some form of happiness, especially for the veteran community. When you get out, it's like, okay, I just did 4 years, or I did 10 years, or I did 20 years, or even 30 years. And it's like, okay, what was it all for? And am I going to be able to find some type of purpose again in life to give me that level of happiness?
Right. And totally agreed. And one very important distinction I want to make here is like this organization is not going to provide any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that there's an awesome, incredible community out there that I have been fortunate to participate in. This is matches that Chris Hutchison's putting on, that JK is putting on, that Jason Byerly is putting on. that Eric Torres is putting on. All of these matches that these guys are doing, all I'm trying to do is bridge the gap between the average individual or your average soldier or veteran, and then, excuse me, service member or veteran, since not everyone's a
Yeah.
soldier. That's for you, Matt.
Yep.
And these matches and these experiences, because there's such a high barrier to entry, unfortunately, in our sport, but the payoff for it is completely worth it if we can just get those guys in. And I did
Well,
want to answer the second part of your question before I forget, but please go ahead and respond.
Well, no, like you were talking about the barrier to entry, and I remember like my first three gun match I ever showed up to. It's like I thought I had all the right gear, and come to find out, it's like I needed all new gear for the most part. It's like,
Yeah.
and so like being able to show up and just try out every little thing that's out there gives you such a huge perspective on what's good, what did I think was good, and what's actually good, so I can just buy it for the first time and never have to go back to anything else.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to provide. I mean, we've got the standard for box fed shotguns that people are going to get to shoot. We
Hmm.
have 2311s, which are an awesome combination of a SIG concept and a 2311 or excuse me, 2011 platform. And we have American Defense, which is just one of the top rifles that you can get, ready to go out of the box.
Yeah. And let's go back to your answer.
Right, right. So the second part of that, and this one is a bit more of a complicated. That's why I had to break it down, give myself time to think about it. So why is it important for me to put on this match? And I think that kind of goes back towards what we were talking about with purpose, seeking continual improvement. Because I mean, I don't work in the industry. I don't get anything out of this except for enjoyment. Obviously, you get contacts, but I mean, I don't think I'm going to be getting a new private equity firm or a hedge fund that I'm able to audit because of my contacts from doing this. I think it's really just about being able to give back to a community that has provided so much to me. And that's both bridging the competitive shooting part of that community, which has always been there, has always been an awesome resource, and then the military community, the military background, which so often may feel like an underserved community in many ways. Being able to, in my small part, do something to serve that group, which I hope will have a multiplicative effect throughout the community down the line. If I'm able to accomplish even a small part of either one of those, it's a success in my book.
No, that's awesome. And you know, I know everybody appreciates it. Like anytime somebody has the ability to like step in and put on matches, like it's much appreciated from the community. Even if they don't necessarily hear it, like, you know, it's much appreciated from the ROs. Like the ROs, you could tell which people who run a match, you know, takes care of their ROs, and those ROs have a good time doing it, and those who don't. And those who don't take care of those ROs typically don't show back up. But, you know, like you were reading me the RO list, and it's a combination of people that were there last year and the year before, because you did such a good job, and the mission and the purpose is there in such a good way that people want to come back and continue helping. So, like, that's huge.
And I buy beer.
And you buy beer. So, you know, going into the match to kind of give an idea to those newer shooters that are coming out this weekend, what type of stages do you have in store for them?
Yeah, great question. So we have some similar concepts to what you're going to see throughout a three gun year. Um, in no particular order, the first stage that, depending on your squad, that some shooters will see will be a long range stage, which will start you with a tube shotgun and an array of targets, and then you're entering a vehicle and engaging stationary targets out to 400 yards. There's no reloading of the tube shotgun. I understand that a shotgun is a new weapon system for a lot of people when it's not pointed at a door jamb. So we're taking it very easy with the shotguns. It's just a full tube, let her rip, get rid of the shotgun, go to work on your rifle. Um, the next stage, Hutch, Chris Hutchison has generously volunteered to do a gauntlet style stage. So this
Oh,
stage, you're going to start with a little bit of rifle work. You're going to get rid of your rifle. You're going to pick up a couple kettlebells. You're going to move those kettlebells down to a destination, drop them off, draw your pistol, go to work on your pistol, which is it's a jungle run concept that you'll see there with targets appearing. It's kind of to be honest, it's kind of a drag race. As soon as you get rid of those kettlebells, you got to get to the end as fast as possible while knocking out your targets. We're not trying to break anybody off. We're fully aware that this is not the gauntlet. This is not that type of event. So weights are going to be reflective of that. It's not going to be anything that people cannot accomplish, but it should be something that shows you a little bit of what the gauntlet's trying to test. It's not very fun, or I wouldn't say that. It's not comfortable engaging pistol targets after you've been carrying something with your fingers
are
that
the
heavy.
are those kettlebells gonna have the grip balls on them or no?
No,
Okay.
no. We're not trying to cause any problems here. We just want to give everybody a taste.
Yes.
And then we move into our base stages. We got two rifle pistol stages, which will be just fun. And then we got a PCC stage, which is all just knock over steel. So go to work, have a great time with that. We've got PCC for you with all the big stick mags. You don't need to bring your own PCC for that. We're providing these guns. And then Matt, the stage that you're going to be working on, we've got dissident shotgun and then pistol. So you'll have a shotgun start. I'm working with Ben, looking at the exact array of targets tomorrow. They'll dump the shotgun. You don't have to reload this thing, and then go to work on your pistol. So
Heck yeah. No, that sounds awesome. Um, and before we go into the last question, um, what time do you plan on having everybody there at the range? Like, what's the morning gonna look like for the competitors?
yep. So I want to get everybody there by 8:30. Well, I understand that we've got to do 15 minutes prior for everything. So I'm going to speak to everybody at 8:30. That'll be a quick welcome, a quick introduction to the facilities and the layout, and then a little bit of here's your left and right for how the day is going to run. And then our goal is to have rounds downrange at 9 a.m. with the ultimate goal of having everything concluded by 2:30 or so. We've got summer storms and who knows what may be happening in July. So to the extent that we can be wrapped up before then, that would be great. Right after we're wrapped up, we're having pizza, beverages, and we're going to do a prize table. Prize table is not going to be based on your order of finish since this is an introductory, very very, very coach-led match. It's just a random draw, but we've got a very exciting prize table for all of our competitors. To be honest, probably one of the best that you'll see. Better than anything I saw until I started getting much better as a shooter, probably my second or third year.
No, that's awesome. I yeah, I can't wait. What time do you want the ROs there?
ROs at 8 would be great.
Okay.
I'm gonna have boxes for you guys. The boxes are gonna include belts, holsters. We'll push the guns out to each stage that they need to go to, whether it's the American Defense or the Oracle Arms 2311s, the Dissident or the Tube Shotgun or the PCC. So we do have some equipment to distribute,
Yep. Nope.
and I hope I get all of it back.
Did you get it all back last year?
I got everything back last year. 2 years ago, I had a couple mags walk off on me.
Uh, last question, and this is a shout out for all the sponsors. What sponsors do you have on board this year, and anybody that you would specifically like to give a shout out to?
Oh, absolutely. Coming in at our 800-pound gorilla tier, which is the highest and most awesomest of tiers, we have American Defense Manufacturing, who this is their third year supporting this event. We got Vortex on board, Obsidian Arms, OA Defense, IWI. We also had SAR USA via Heather Miller come on, and this is their first year sponsoring the event, so we're really excited to welcome them on board as well. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Jared Grant from Legacy Blades Inc. He held a raffle to support this event, and that really helped us from a financial standpoint, able to provide a lot more while charging a lot less to our competitors. Really appreciated him doing that. And then we got a new another new one who actually his first product that he ever created is the trophy for whomever comes in first place at our event on Saturday, and that's Unconventional Woodworks. And naturally, the X, it's an X at the end, not a KS, and it's crossed arrows because that's what
Hell
we
yeah.
do.
No, that's awesome. And to those sponsors and everybody who's come on board, uh, it's appreciated. Like, I know you don't ever necessarily hear it from the shooters. It can be a bit uncomfortable sometimes reaching out, but like, just know that the shooters and everybody is very appreciative of everything that y'all provide. But other than that, that's kind of everything I have. Is there anything that you wanted to cover before we sign off?
No, I just really look forward to having a safe, fun weekend. I look forward to seeing everybody that I already know in the community and look forward to making a lot of new friends.
Hell yeah. No, I can't wait to see everybody out there this weekend too. Whole new group of friends.
That's right. It's great seeing you, Matt. It's good talking with you.
Hey, you too, man. I'll see you this weekend.
Sounds great. Take care.
You too.